The Cleveland Browns are officially entering a state of absolute chaos, and what I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about this upcoming season. If you think the quarterback room is settled, you are dead wrong. We are staring down the barrel of a decision that could either save this franchise or burn it to the ground, and the latest reports coming out of the building are nothing short of a disaster for those expecting a smooth transition. Is the front office about to commit the ultimate betrayal against the future of this team? Stick around, because the draft strategy just took a 180-degree turn that nobody saw coming. Before we dive into this madness, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. We are tracking every move, every rumor, and every locker room leak in real time. The first round shocker. Let's get right into the heart of the storm. We've been hearing whispers for months about how the Browns were going to handle their premium draft capital. Everyone and their mother assumed that with the instability at the most important position in sports, the move was obvious. But hold your breath, because one of the most plugged-in insiders in the league just dropped a nuclear bomb on those expectations. The word on the street is definitive: the Cleveland Browns are not, I repeat, not looking at a quarterback in the first round. This is a massive pivot. For weeks, the draft community has been linking guys like Ty Simpson to Cleveland. The hype train was moving at full speed, with experts swearing up and down that Simpson was a lock for the first round. If he's going in the top 32 and the Browns are officially passing on a signal caller early, then the dream of Ty Simpson in a Browns jersey is officially dead. Honestly, this is a masterclass in risk management or a total catastrophe depending on who you ask. When you look at the tape from last year, was the quarterback play the only issue? Absolutely not. The offensive line was a sieve. The tackles were getting beat like drum sets every single Sunday. And don't even get me started on the wide receiver production, or lack thereof. There are absolute studs sitting there in the first round who can catch touchdowns and block the blindside. If the Browns pass on a project QB to grab a day one starter at tackle, it's the right move. But it leaves a massive, gaping hole in the long-term plan under center. And wait until you hear who they are suddenly backing to lead this team in the short term. It's going to make your blood boil. The resurrection of Deshaun Watson. I'm going to be real with you, this next update freaks me out. Just when we thought the era of Deshaun Watson was fading into the background, the narrative is shifting in a way that feels like a fever dream. Insiders are now claiming that Watson starting week 1 is not just a possibility, it's actually the most likely scenario right now. How is this even happening? Let's look at the facts. The ownership has basically called the Watson trade a swing and a miss in the past. The guy is hitting the big 3-0. He's dealt with back-to-back Achilles tears. In what world does a veteran with that much baggage and that much rust win a high-stakes training camp battle against young, hungry talent? It feels like insanity. Even the biggest national pundits, guys who usually ride for the young guns, are starting to predict that Watson will be the guy taking the first snap. But here is the cold, hard truth that nobody wants to admit: money talks. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in guaranteed cash. When a team is on the hook for that kind of legendary paycheck, they are going to squeeze every last drop of value out of that player before they cut bait. It's the final year of the deal where they can really justify this. They want to see if there's even a spark of the old Watson left. Who do you think is actually the best fit to lead this offense? Who is to blame if this season starts 0-4? Drop a name in the comments right now. The ultimate quarterback gauntlet. This brings us to the most electric battle in training camp: Deshaun Watson versus the young phenom, Shedeur Sanders. This isn't just a friendly competition, this is a fight for the soul of the Cleveland offense. The dynamic here is fascinating. Watson has the incumbent edge because of his contract, but Sanders has the future edge because of his raw ceiling. If these two are even remotely close in talent during camp, if it's a tie, the veteran usually gets the nod. That's just NFL logic. For Shedeur to take the throne, he can't just be as good as Watson, he has to be undeniably better. He has to make it impossible for the coaching staff to bench him. He needs to go out there and put on a show that leaves no doubt in Todd Monken's mind. But there's a third name in this mix that everyone seems to have forgotten, and the way he's handling this situation is a total disaster for his career. While Shedeur has been living in the facility, grinding every single day for the last few months. Where is Dylan Gabriel? The reports are grim. Gabriel hasn't even shown his face. He's not in the building. He's not at the voluntary workouts. It's like he's already checked out, and in a high-octane environment like Cleveland, that is the ultimate betrayal of your teammates. Is Gabriel's time in Cleveland over before it even really began? The rumors of a trade are picking up steam, and frankly, it would be a mercy killing at this point. Why did we even spend a third-round pick on him? It was a head-scratcher then, and it looks like a total bust now. If the Browns can find a way to flip him for a late-round pick swap just to get him out of the room, they should take it and run. But hold on, because the way the coaches are planning to split the reps in practice is going to tell us exactly who they favor. The grind for reps. Todd Monken recently pulled back the curtain on how training camp is going to function, and it's not going to be a fair fight. If you're expecting a 50-50 split of snaps between Watson and Sanders, you're dreaming. Monken was crystal clear: there will be a designated QB1 from the jump, and that person is getting the lion's share of the work. The decision on who starts as QB1 is being based on past performance and where the year ended. Now, that is a double-edged sword. If you look at the past, you see Watson's Pro Bowl years from half a decade ago. But if you look at where the year ended, you see Shedeur Sanders starting the final 7 games and showing flashes of brilliance. However, there is a glimmer of hope for the Sanders camp. Monken mentioned that the depth chart is written in pencil, not ink. The reps can change daily. If Watson starts with the ones but looks like he's stuck in second gear, and Shedeur comes in and lights up the second string, the coaches will swap them the very next morning. It's a literal day-to-day war. But what if the answer isn't even on the roster yet? The front office has hinted that they aren't done looking at younger arms. We aren't talking first-rounders anymore, but keep your eyes on the mid to late rounds. Could a guy like Sawyer Robertson or Haynes King be brought in to provide some developmental depth while they move on from the Gabriel era? It's a move that makes sense if you're looking to completely rebuild the culture of the quarterback room. The preseason showdown, mark your calendars, because the preseason is about to be the most watched television in Cleveland history. Unlike other teams that bubble wrap their starters, Monken has basically confirmed that our main guys are going to be playing. We are going to see Watson and Sanders in live game action, facing real pass rushes and making real decisions. This is where the rubber meets the road. You can look great in a red jersey during practice, but can you lead a 2-minute drill with the game on the line? That's what we're going to find out. And it's not just the quarterbacks who are under the microscope. The entire roster is being overhauled with a very specific archetype in mind. When you listen to the coaching staff talk about what they want in a wide receiver, it's simple but demanding: big, fast, and physical. They want guys who can win the 50-50 balls and then accelerate for yards after the catch. This draft class is absolutely loaded with that specific profile. Everyone talks about the big 3 at the top of the draft, but the real value for Cleveland is in the middle rounds. We're talking about guys like Denzel Boston or Jacoby Lane, monsters who stand 6 feet 5 inches and run like the wind. If the Browns can pair a physical freak at receiver with whichever quarterback wins this battle, the offense might actually be explosive for once. But there's a major concern on the defensive side of the ball that no one is talking about, and it involves our franchise cornerstone. The Myles Garrett mystery. There has been a lot of noise lately about Myles Garrett. Some people are claiming he's gone AWOL, that he's disconnected from the new coaching staff. It's the kind of rumor that sends a fan base into a panic. However, Monken tried to downplay the drama, mentioning that they've been texting back and forth. Is texting enough for your best player and your new offensive coordinator? It feels a bit thin. We need Garrett locked in and leading this defense, especially with the questions we have on the interior line. We're hearing that Elton Jenkins might be moved back to guard, where he was a Pro Bowler, rather than struggling at center. That move alone could stabilize the front, but it requires the young guys like Luke Whippler to step up and be ready by week 1. The injury bug is still lingering, too. Both Whippler and DeJuan Jones are fighting to be ready for the end of the offseason program. If they aren't 100%, the rotation is going to be incredibly thin. We are building a house of cards here, and one wrong move in the draft or one lingering injury could bring the whole thing crashing down. The coaching blunder to wrap this all up: we have to talk about the most bizarre moment of the offseason so far. You might have seen the annual NFL head coach's photo circulating online. It's a tradition, all the big whistles standing together. But someone was missing. Todd Monken was nowhere to be found. Why? Was he grinding film? Was he in a secret meeting with a free agent? No. Apparently, he was getting a haircut and completely mistimed the photo op. I'm not even kidding. He missed the official league photo because he was sitting in a barber chair. Look, I want to defend our guys, but that is not a great start. It's a small thing, sure, but in a season where every second counts and the pressure is at an all-time high, you've got to have better clock management than that. If he can't time a haircut, how is he going to time a complex offensive scheme against the best defenses in the world? We are heading into a season defined by open competition. The front office is saying all the right things, but the tension in the building is palpable. It's Watson's legacy versus Sanders' destiny, and the fallout is going to be legendary. Make sure you stay locked in, because this quarterback battle is just getting started, and the next update might be the one that changes the Browns forever.